Welcome in Murdock's Indie Corner. And this installment might well be the most indie one so far. This album review contains serial killers, cybersex, and lots of bouncy piano.
I get no kicks from that old drink driving. I want to do so much more than just surviving. I want to be tete-a-tete, tete-a-tete, my honey with you.
Yes, for this album, we turn to a country where singing is kind of a national sport of virtue. Wales. A skinny man with an unusual name. At least for me, I think he's the only person with that first name I've ever come across. Um, I would have pronounced it Euros, but I've come to learn that it's rather pronounced something like Aris, so I'll stick to that for this video. You might not have heard this name before, but he's actually no blank slate in UK indie rock. Here's proof in my obligatory artist slideshow. CHILDS from Freshwater East in Wales was known for the longest time as the frontman of the eccentric indie folk rock band Gorky's Psychotic Monkey. That band was founded in 1991 whilst still at comprehensive school, with Childs as main songwriter, singer and keyboard player. Mostly operating as a five-piece with multi-instrumentalists, Gorky's Psychotic Monkey released 9 official albums plus 2 early self-released cassettes. The band fused whimsical folk with adventurous psychedelic rock and idiosyncratic experiments, making them one of the most unique Welsh bands of the 90s. They split up in 2006, after which Childs began a prolific solo career, but also showed up in various short-lived side projects. His first solo album, Chops, was released in February 2006 and featured Childs' idiosyncratic style of twee indie pop and psychedelic folk singer-songwriter. It was quickly followed by the all-Welsh album Borda in 2007 and, still in the same year, The Miracle Inn. On Cheer Gone from 2008, he recorded with musicians in Nashville. His 5th album was released on his own label, National Elf. It also began the trend of releasing all his music through his official website on a pay-what-you-can basis. Besides that, he formed the duo Johnny with Norman Blake from Scottish indie rock institution Teenage Fan Club. They released one self-titled album in 2011. Together with his sister Megan on violin, Childs released his next solo album, Ends, also in 2011. It was a sparse album with mostly just piano and vocals. 2012 saw another duo side project called Cousins with fellow Welshman Mailir Jones from psychedelic indie poppers The Racehorses. As if that wasn't enough, Childs released another solo album called Summer Special that had a full band sound the same year. Situation Comedy marked Childs' 9th solo release and came out in 2013. I had stopped watching sitcoms by 2013, but I quite enjoyed watching them in the 90s. Still, this album somehow crossed my path. I wonder if this channel could be turned into a sitcom. I'll stick to my day job. I promise. Now, on to the album. The first number directly introduces the musical main element on the album, deceptively simple, bouncy piano. This track, like many others on the album, is a cross between a vaudeville ditty and a fun Paul McCartney tune hammered out for a pub audience somewhere in Wales. Tete-a-tete is a dark humor love song that seems to be sung by either a killer or an alcoholic who has got corpses beneath his ice rink. The oddest possible choice for a feel good tune, but it works.
I want to be tete-a-tete, tete-a-tete, my honey with you, oh honey with you. Major Green wakes up in the middle of a wall, checks his smalls to see if they can be worn another day.
Second Home Blues is another bouncy yet idiosyncratic piano pop song with flutes and a certain slant. You wouldn't think that you could make an interesting song about the woes and boredom of people who can afford a second home in the country due to the stock market. But you can.
Out in the mornings, I can be found out in the garden in my dressing gown. And Mother Nature, she speaks it to me through a bird song and rustling trees. Driving around in a 4x4 through country lanes, we head to the shore.
And this sense of witty or sometimes sarcastic humor continues on Avon Lady, a look at the traveling cosmetics saleswoman who is good looking and successfully independent on the outside, but whose life is a bleak monotony on the inside. Hey, I can take it with a beautiful little flute solo.
Lipstick smudges, perfume flows, but some things cannot be controlled. A trembling lip, deadening eyes, the lying on a bed to cry. All of the customers, they know her name, and they'll get a free sample when she comes round again.
Track 4 comes with the strangest title. On Ula Una, love becomes economics as the lyrical eye falls in love with, well, I guess, a prostitute. It's all dressed up in a harmlessly twee piano pop ditty.
At the mall, I look down at Una in pajamas dancing around.
Brides in the Bath deploys a more eccentric, creepy sound, while Childs sings in a slightly deranged, cracking voice of a serial killer. The enjoyable goofiness saves the actually often unsettling subject matters of the songs from becoming too heavy handed. The next one, Give the Girl a Hand, is another more accessible, short, jaunty piano tune about everyday life situations such as a woman accidentally eating parts of her husband who had turned to cheese. The slow, more pensive Holiday from Myself can either be read as a charmingly autobiographical, meta level song or a tongue in cheek comment on the miserable self importance of singer songwriters. My own voice bores me, heard it too many times before. I've been singing the same old shit since 1994. I need a holiday from myself. This one probably makes me chuckle the most. Tina said has got a more jangly sound going on. The flutes and Charles's Gentle singing could trick the listener once more into believing that this was a harmless twee song when in fact we're getting full blown depressive midlife crisis. Daddy's Girl is a tongue in cheek country song featuring a possessive, divorced father who abducts his own daughter. You know, I get the feeling this situation comedy is a tiny little bit vicious. The following Good Time Baby Talk to Me is the closest thing to a rock song that we get on here. The addition of saxophone actually turns it into a kind of lo fi glam rock. Here we get the sleazy tale of secret cyber sex while the parents are asleep. The song has got a second, mellower, and more dreamy half that depicts remorse and the realization that digital love is all a lie. The final cut is entitled Trick of the Mind and changes tone and atmosphere a bit. In this almost 14-minute piece, Childs doesn't assume a quirky character. The song is meditative and vaguely psychedelic, based on an endlessly repeating hypnotic piano motif. It's all a trick of the mind. The happiness you think you will find, and nothing is as it seems. Maybe this is meant as a final summary to the album or a message to all the characters that appeared in the songs before. The track floats along with only piano and a little bit of vocals for a good 4 minutes, and after that, Trick of the Mind keeps entrancing the listener for another 10 minutes. I mean, musically, there isn't that much happening. An instrument is added here and there, or a harmony, but somehow this piece manages to captivate the listener over its 14-minute runtime. It is a peaceful ending and goodbye to the whimsical wonderland of this album. Situation Comedy is a little indie record with small instrumentation and a small production budget. You know, it's not music that tries to grab you by the throat or blow your mind each and every second, but I think more people should listen to this. So if you know Aris Charles's albums, maybe write down in the comments which other albums you'd recommend. And if you never heard of him, but like pop music that is a little bit odd and dark humor, this album should definitely be on your list. So that's it for this episode. But I'll be back with more Murdock Music Minutes. No, I mean it. Bye bye.